favorite weight loss coach, Maddie, is back with some awesome weight loss tips and tricks that you can implement starting today. Today, I'm gonna go over 10 dieting mistakes to why you're not losing weight. Now, mistake number one, okay? This is not having a second goal, okay? We're all really good at setting that first goal, right? I wanna lose 20 pounds, I wanna fit back into my old jeans. We all have this goal we wanna reach, but we forget to talk about what happens next. Because a lot of the times we either reach our goal and we fall off, or we don't make it all the way to our goal and we fall off. That's usually the two cycles that usually play out when we start a weight loss journey. Now, a trick to break that cycle is to have another goal. So you wanna say, I wanna lose 20 pounds and keep it off. I wanna lose 50 pounds and stop binge eating, right? We need this second goal that's more in depth, more lifestyle oriented. So we have a step number two past our original goal, right? And this is really cool for two reasons. Number one, it's future pacing us. If you failed a lot in your past, if you've been struggling to lose weight, to some degree, you're doubting yourself that you doubt that you'll ever reach your goal, really, subconsciously or consciously. So by having another goal that is there after the first goal, you're now future pacing yourself and tricking your brain into starting to believe, oh, I can reach that because I've already set another goal after I'm gonna reach that. So it's really great for kind of breaking through that mental barrier, that mental ceiling in your mind to give you that extra push of actually being successful on the first goal. So that's why it's really important. And then the second reason it's really important is because, you need to be prepared for what happens after your goal. A lot of the reasons that we end up falling backwards or that we can't sustain something or we blow up after we stop whatever diet we tried is because we didn't have a then what, right? And the then what would be, what do I have to do long-term to keep this off? What do I have to do long-term to make health easier, right? And we need to think about that so you can already start preparing for that, which is really, really awesome. And that's a big mistake that people make a lot of the time. It's not having that second goal. So definitely sit down and have, I want X goal and X goal. So you're gonna be psychologically ready for the first one, and you're gonna be making sure that you can keep the first one because you're starting to work on the second one, which is gonna perpetuate that goal A. Mistake number two, and this is not setting your goals big enough. Not setting your goals big enough. I cannot tell you how many times I have had a conversation with a woman who's wanting to lose weight and she says, I'd be happy at blank. I'd love to be blank, but I'd settle for blank. So something like, she's 200 pounds, she'd love to be 180, she'd be happy at 180, but she'd really love to be 150. But I'll take 180. And here's the problem, when you start to talk like this, you're now settling. You're now setting the bar very low for yourself, right? And then you're kind of tricking yourself psychologically into telling yourself, I want to be 150, but you won't make it there because you're so focused on just getting to 180. So I'd really suggest making your goals big. Shoot for the stars. There's somebody in your position who's reached a crazy goal. And if they can do it, you can do it. You just need to break some limiting beliefs. You have to know that it's possible. You need someone to give you permission to dream big and go crazy and reach your dreams. Stop putting your dreams on hold. Stop shrinking your dreams because you've yet to reach them, because you failed so far, because you don't believe in yourself. I believe in you. You need to believe in you. The sky is the limit. Pick a big goal and go for it. You deserve it, and it is about time that you work crazy hard for something and stop setting the bar so low, because I know that you have the potential to achieve great things. You just need to know that too. So I would say set some big goals for yourself. Set some big goals so that way you can start thinking bigger. You can expand your mind and then you can reverse engineer them into little goals so it's more palatable, it's more realistic. Mistake number three, and this is not planning, okay? There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You cannot lose weight or keep it off or be healthy and stay healthy unless you put energy, effort, and attention into being planned, intentional, and organized, okay? Now, we all know this. It makes sense. You need to put time into meal prepping to some degree. You need to put time into intentionally choosing your meals, in planning out your meals, in planning out when you're gonna eat, what time you're gonna eat, how much you're gonna eat. You need to put time into that, into planning when you're gonna work out, into, who are you gonna work out with, what types of workouts are you gonna do. You need to put time and effort into planning your weeks. You cannot hope for the best, because the best never just randomly happens. That's not life. Life works out for the people who work hard. Now, what I mean by this is you can't just be all super organized and planned for the first couple weeks, first couple months. Okay, this needs to be something that's consistent. Okay, a lot of the times what I see in women is that they're all gung-ho, and then when life gets busy and stressful, that's when they put this on the back burner. That's when planning and organizing and preparing for a healthy week gets missed. And that's a problem, because you've just said, by putting it on the back burner, by not making time for it, you've now shown and proven to yourself that it is not a priority. And if it is not a priority, how would you ever reach it? How would you ever sustain it? How can health ever become as easy as and as automatic as brushing your teeth if we don't put that initial effort and intention into building healthy habits and becoming good at them? And that means practicing something long term, and that means setting up your week and your schedule so you're able to practice these good habits, not completely being busy, hour to hour, where you have no time to practice these good habits or plan these good habits. So really take planning serious. And I'm not saying there's not room for being flexible. There has to be, right? Things happen, life is unexpected, and you still want to have some spontaneity and fun with food and exercise and social events and whatever it is. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there is no shortcut. You cannot get around from the fact that you need to plan. So if that has been what you've been resisting, if that is what you've been trying to cheat, I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna work. So just accept the fact that you're gonna need to be planning and preparing and putting effort into making sure that your week plays out healthily. Mistake number 4. So this is probably my most exciting mistake that I like to talk about personally, and it's resisting change, okay? And here's an example. So say you're 200 pounds and you lose 20 pounds, right? So now you're 180 pounds. And for some reason, when we go into this weight loss phase, we put our lives on hold, right? We put our lives on hold. We work really, really hard. We usually choose a time when it's easy to do. We don't got much going on. Maybe it's summer vacation, or maybe, it's slow for work. We usually lose weight when it's fairly easy to do so. And then we put the rest of our life on hold. We cancel parties, social events. We make sure that the house is clean. We don't bring any junk food. We don't order foods out. The family knows this, We put on our regular life on hold while we're losing weight, and then we try to resume our old life once we've reached our goal, right? But here's the problem with that. The lifestyle that you created at 200 pounds got you to 200 pounds. It got you there, right? So if you've now become 180 pounds and you go and you insert yourself back in your 200 pound lifestyle, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna go right back to 200 pounds. And that's probably happened to you before. It's happened to me. I've seen it countless times with so many different women. So what you have to do is stop resisting change. Stop resisting the fact that if you want change, something needs to change. And that means your lifestyle. You cannot continue the way that you're going if you want these goals, if these goals are as important as you say they are. So you should be mentally changing along the way to that 180, and then along the way to that 160, wherever we're going. You're a changed person, you're a different person. And so your lifestyle should look different. Do not think that when you reach your goal, you can go back to the way that things were, okay? On your way to losing weight, you need to reshape your lifestyle, maybe some new traditions, new boundaries, new way of thinking, new habits. Things change so that when you're 180, you now have a 180 lifestyle that can hold you there. And then we want to move forward, and then we can hold ourselves at 160, and so on and so forth, okay? I see a lot of women trying to hold on to their crazy social life, or trying to hold on to their super stressful job and zero sleep, right? But that has led us here, and we're not happy here. So clearly we can't keep going back here. So we have to change what here looks like. And that's up to you. That's up to you with how severe you want to take that. But to some degree, micro or macro, we need to be changing literally our lifestyle and everybody in it that you spend time with, because if they're stuck in your 200-pound lifestyle, they'll bring you back too. You do not resist that change, accept that it needs to happen, and then kind of just discuss what you're capable of and what do you think you can handle, because you got to still enjoy life and have fun and be excited by things. Now, mistake number 5 that I see has to do with healthy alternatives, okay? And it's choosing the wrong healthy alternatives. Now, the first step in overcoming cravings and binging and late night snacking and eating poorly and losing weight is to start with healthy alternatives, right? That's probably one of the easiest things you can do, right? Instead of the cookie, have a handful of nuts, right? That's kind of how we think, right? I don't want this, but I'm really craving and I'm really hungry. I'm gonna have this instead. So it's a great first step, because now we're choosing food with intention, right? At least it's in the front of our mind. But here's the problem, and most women don't take it to this level, is even the healthy alternatives are probably not helping you with your weight loss. Now here's why, and that's because a calorie is a calorie, okay? It doesn't matter if it's coming from a chocolate bar or a piece of broccoli. A calorie is a calorie when it comes to weight loss, okay? Now you're gonna feel like absolute garbage if all you eat is chocolate bars, right? So mood and energy and hormones and things like that will change with the unhealthier foods. But when it comes to weight loss, a calorie is a calorie. So, you might be over here having a handful of nuts, but a handful of nuts, it can be like 500 calories. Whereas you were gonna have the cookie, which is 200 calories, but you thought you made a healthy alternative, and then you step on the scale at the end of the week, and you're like, what the hell? I resisted all the sweets, I resisted all the junk food, I didn't have a slice of pizza, I ate my avocado, I ate my nuts, I ate my frozen yogurt instead of ice cream. What the hell's going on? Why is the scale not going down? Who's been there, right? And it's simply because you had the right idea, but we gotta execute better. So what you have to do is, when you're choosing a healthy alternative, or you're trying to interrupt a bad behavior that you're not happy with, where you're kind of following through on impulses, right? Impulse to action, impulse to eat, I'm gonna eat. Craving, I'm gonna eat. We're trying to interrupt something like that. What you need to do instead is you do, what is the healthy alternative? And then what is the low calorie version of that? Nuts is not it. Oils is not it. Peanut butter is not it. I used to eat peanut butter with a spoon, and I thought it was healthy fats, right? But first of all, 1 serving of peanut butter is a tablespoon. No one just has 1 tablespoon. We have a big normal spoonful, which has like 3 servings on it, which is like 300 calories, when I could have had 1 2-bite brownie and been super satisfied and still lost weight, right? So I'm not giving you permission to go eat junk food all day, every day, and I'm not giving you permission to give in to your cravings. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're going through the trouble of actually saying no and then choosing a healthy alternative, you might as well get the reward from it, from choosing something low calorie, so it's actually going to help you lose weight. So that is actually probably the biggest, most common mistake I see, is that we're trying to be healthy, but we choose the wrong things unintentionally. So really watch the foods that you're eating, right? Compare the calories, right? What's this piece of cake? What's this spoonful of peanut butter? And then choose the healthier and low calorie option. And I promise you that will you'll be so surprised with how that boosts your results so quickly, just by changing the calories and the healthy alternatives we're using. And you're already in a good mindset, so that will really accelerate things for you. Mistake number 6, giving up after you fall off. All right? I can't tell you, I just want to come and shake you through the screen and tell you, just because you fall off, just because you have a big failure, does not mean it's not working, and it does not mean you should try something new. When you fall off, which we all do, I've had huge blowouts and I've had little slip-ups. When it happens, it is not a sign that you should stop or try something else. It is a sign from the universe saying, hyper-focus on this thing. This is where you're lacking. This is where you need work. This is what you're missing. Put all your attention there. It is a sign, right? Because when we lose weight, it is a learning curve. We're learning our body. We're learning our metabolism. We're learning habits, learning new habits, rewiring our thoughts, rewiring our behaviors, learning new patterns. So it's a huge, huge learning curve, and there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. So it's going to take a long time, and that takes patience. So, and we know that. When I say that out loud, it sounds very logical, right? You're probably nodding your head watching me. But for some reason, we know that learning takes patience. We know that learning, you're not going to get it on the first try. But we forget that that extends to a weight loss journey too. We know that with math, we know that with science, we know that with writing essays. We don't get it great on the right try. We just keep practicing to get better at it. We forget that the same principle applies to weight loss. The only way you get really good at losing weight, and the only way that you master your body, is through failures, because failures will tell you what part are you not getting, which part are you missing. It is how you actually level up your results. If you keep stopping or changing every time you fail, you are doing a huge disservice to yourself, because you are never knowing what is on the other side of failure. There's this little golden nugget of information, of this present, of this revelation that you're missing by not getting back on the horse. So the next time you fall off, don't take it as a sign to stop. Get back on the horse. I don't even care if you're crawling. I don't care if you're being dragged behind the horse. Just do something and switch your mindset so that you can keep going and get all the benefits of failure. Because what if failure makes you stop, then you really did fail. You got nothing out of that failure, and that failure was an absolute waste. It happened for no reason. There was no purpose. There was no meaning to it. But if you learned something, if it made you stronger, if it broke a habit, if it broke a pattern, if it showed you a new perspective, then it was worth something. Then you can be okay with it if it happened for a reason. But you gotta go find the reason. You can't just be afraid of it, be disappointed and guilty and regretful from it, and then turn away from that feeling because it's uncomfortable and shameful. So mistake number 7 is making excuses or blaming other people. Now, when I say this, it sounds pretty obvious, right? You're like, of course you can't blame other people. Of course you can't have excuses and want to be successful, right? But here's the thing. If you were listening to me chat right now, okay, you have some excuses and you're blaming something or someone. Everybody is. And I'm not exempt from that. I have my own things that I have to get through and pay attention to and self-analyze. So what I would challenge you to do is name the excuses you use. Name the things you're blaming as to why you're not seeing results. Because this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see in dieting, is giving the power to things that you can't control. When you say it's your age, when you say it's your metabolism, when you say it's your medical condition, when you say it's your husband, regardless of if those things are going to make it more difficult, by saying that out loud, you've given your power away. And how can you expect to regain power and actually make a difference if it's everything else's fault? Because then it's on everybody else and everything else to fix you. And that's just not how life works. You are responsible for fixing yourself. You are responsible for making yourself healthy, right? No one will become healthy unless they want to. Nobody will lose weight unless they want to. And that starts with removing the excuses and the blame so that it's just you, stripped there, vulnerable to realizing what you were hiding behind. So what are you hiding behind right now? That's one of the biggest mistakes I see, is just we're hiding behind something just because we are beat down, we are unmotivated, we're confused, we're overwhelmed, right? There's 80-year-olds doing backflips. So age, if they can do it, you can do it. Maybe you don't want to do a backflip, but you get my point, right? There's people who have super low metabolisms who can still lose weight. There's people with diabetes and hypothyroidism who are fit, right? For every excuse and reason you have, there's always a story and a person who can prove it wrong. So don't get upset at that. Don't get defensive at that. Get hopeful. Realize that now we can slowly slip away or push away every reason as to why you can't lose weight. And then it's only left to you. You're the only one in your way. And by not realizing that and by hiding behind the excuses and the blame, you're really holding yourself back. And I wish someone kind of told me that. I know it's not nice, I know it can sting, and I know it's a lot to take in. Trust me, I've had a long time to kind of sit with this as well throughout my journey, but it's definitely necessary. So do not blame others, accept yourself, take full responsibility, reclaim your power, and watch yourself become more solution-oriented instead of problem-finding, right? Instead of having a reason for why it's not gonna work, now you're gonna start to find reasons for it to work. And the funny thing is about being solution-oriented is that when you're always looking for solutions, guess what? Solutions will always find you. Answers will always find you. Mistake number 8 is changing too much. Okay, and I know this is difficult to do because there's so much out there that is really enticing with buzzwords and promising quick fixes, quick results before vacation, for your wedding, drop the 10 pounds fast, tone, tighten, slim, shrink, burn, melt, right? There's so much hot words out there that are attractive and they get what you really want. They take advantage of your vulnerability and your desperation of how badly you really want your goals. But you have to stay steadfast in picking one thing and sticking to it. You have to learn to be a woman of your word when it comes to weight loss, because for too long you said you wanted this goal, but we're still not there, so something is wrong, right? And a lot of the times, I'm gonna be really transparent with you here and really vulnerable. Weight loss and even just hard work in general is boring. It's boring, it's tedious, it's mundane, it's not exciting. It's lulls and it's plateaus of emotion and excitement. And so more people need to hear this. More people need to be told that this journey is not going to be super exciting all the time. And in fact, it is during those boring moments, when you're not when you're not like loving your food, when you're not excited to work out, when you're struggling to find motivation, during those boring, mundane, tedious moments is when you are developing the necessary characteristics to get you far in life. The necessary, essential character traits that are going to push you into the stratosphere with results and personal growth, right? Because what are the traits that would make your weight loss journey a whole lot easier? What about if you were disciplined? What about if you were consistent? What about if you had self-control and willpower? Wouldn't that make your journey a wrap? Done, easy? If you had those things, if you could follow through, if you could keep going, if you could make yourself do the things when you didn't feel like doing the things, if you could make yourself fit in the things when you didn't have time to fit them in, these are the character traits that makes us successful long term, past the point of losing motivation in the beginning phases of losing weight. When the motivation fades and life sets in, what character traits do you have to carry you until the next burst of motivation? And that is what you are robbing yourself from if you keep jumping from program to program to fad diet and being hypnotized by all these crazy buzzwords. So be very, very, very careful. Be very careful. And if you're feeling bored, mundane, and tedious right now, it usually means you're at a crucial point in your journey and you're developing character traits. Not necessarily losing weight like crazy, but you're developing the character traits to accelerate your goals. And that is the truth. Mistake number 9 that I see is that you are restricting too much, okay? It's just not a good psychological tool, right? Whenever you cut something out, whether you're cutting out junk food for a month, alcohol for a month, you're cutting out carbs for whatever amount of time, it's just not good. Our brain says, oh my God, we don't know when we're gonna get that again. So when we see it, we're like, we need that now. We overeat, we overindulge, we make ourselves sick. We feel like food hungover the next day. It's not fun. It's not fun. We have a food baby from so much. We gotta undo the button on our jeans. It's not a good time. We got the sweats late at night because we ate too much. So restriction is bad. It tells our brain that when we see it, we need to stock up because we don't know when we're gonna get it again. And that is not healthy because then food becomes an obsession. Food, we start to hyper focus and obsess over certain foods because we are not allowed them. It is like a kid and their toy. The kid is over here playing in the sandbox and they've got this truck over here. He's not even touching the truck. But as soon as another kid starts to play with that truck, guess what? Now he wants it. And that is what you are doing to yourself. That is what you're doing to yourself, right? If I told you you're not allowed to ever eat Brussels sprouts for the rest of your life, you might even hate Brussels sprouts. But because I told you you can't, you're gonna start to eventually want to anyway. And that's just human psychology. So play the game. Don't fight the game. Don't put yourself in this uphill battle. Stop restricting yourself. And the only way that you lose weight anyway and keep it off is if you lose weight in a way that you can continue to do past the point when you've reached your goal, which is the most sustainable, manageable way going forward. So please stop with the restrictions. Please stop with the idea of these huge, quick, fast results. Fast results are possible, which is exciting. Don't get me wrong. but you have to not do it in a way that's going to contribute to the negative thought patterns and the cycles and that psychology that you're already stuck in or already noticed that you get in, right? So take a second, think about what is it that I do? How do I think about food that's unhealthy? Or what are my thought processes when I'm cheating or binging or overindulging? What are the thought processes I'm telling myself that said it was okay to do it? How do I feel about it afterwards? And when do I talk myself into getting back on track? Like, dive deep into these things and you're gonna notice that it's normally all a repeat cycle because it was usually caused by some sort of restriction in the first place, which is crazy. Where if we just cut the restriction, we brought in balance, we expanded our timeline for a goal, you'd be happy, you'd be having fun, and you'd reach your goal instead of being on and off and on and off and on and off all the time, which is exhausting on your motivation and on your self-confidence, really. Now, mistake number 10 is relying on willpower, okay? I see this very, very often. It is just not a good thing. Feelings are not facts, okay? So you cannot rely on feelings to make decisions when it comes to your health, okay? You're not gonna feel like eating the salad and the chicken breast. You're not gonna feel like going to the gym after hard days at work. You're not gonna feel like doing X, Y, and Z, right? So stop using your feelings to determine your actions. Okay? You need to live a life where you're not having to use superhuman willpower. And what I mean by that is your willpower is like a battery, okay? It's finite. There's only so much of it you can use, right? And that's an example. So if you're somebody who does really good during the week and then falls off on the weekend, it's because the way that your life was built, you had to use too much willpower in the week. You had nothing left for the weekend. Or if you're somebody that does really good during the day and then falls off at night, same idea. Your lifestyle is built so you have to use so much willpower during the day, you got nothing left for nighttime. So relying on motivation, willpower, self-control, relying on those things as a primary action plan is always going to end in failure because it is finite. It will always run out and then you will be left in the cold and you will always give in to temptation. It's just a matter of time. So instead of relying on those things and hoping that you're strong enough in the moment when, you see your husband eating chips late at night or your kids are ordering pizza or you're going out to drinks with the girls, instead of hoping you're gonna stay strong, start to rearrange your lifestyle so you are not exposed to temptation as much. Because the more times you say no, the more likely you are to say yes. And every time you say no, you drain your battery more and more and more. And then when you really need to say no to the really big things, the bad things, you've got nothing left and you just can't, and you cave. And you say, I'll start next Monday. I'll start fresh tomorrow. Screw it, whatever. And that's what we want to stay from. We don't want to perpetuate those habits anymore. So try to take away exposure to as much temptation as possible, right? Get the family to hide the junk food so you don't see it in the pantry. Clean out the fridge. No one's allowed, we can only order out a couple times a week, right? Girls' nights has to be at your house and you cook a healthy new recipe. Like, just, think about where you fall off and when you fall off, and then try to figure out what's one thing I can take away that would make that less tempting or make me less weak, and start from there. So those are my 10 diet mistakes as to why you are not losing weight. I hope you are informed. I hope you have some awesome knowledge to take with you and implement going forward. I would love to hear if this has helped you, so comment down below, shoot me a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you can see when we post more awesome tips and tricks. My name is Coach Maddie again, and I have been on my own weight loss journey of losing over 70 pounds, and now every day I get to help women all over the world crush their weight loss goals. And if you are ready to take your weight loss to the next level, if you need a kick in the butt, click the link down below in the description. It is a link to my personalized program where I've added all the tips and tricks that I use, and I give all my fit queens to help them crush their goals and kickstart their journey. So click that link and I will see you next time.